Hi there, it's Steph from Steph Made It For You. So today's video is kind of a follow-up from the podcast I created last year, but I've not been able to keep up with because it's on a different platform and I got loads of side hustles that I'm trying to juggle at the moment. But I wanted to keep on going with the podcast because I was talking a lot about frugality and it has been a big part of my life in the last year or so, but particularly in the last few months. And I kind of wanted to follow up on that. So just to give you a little bit of background, if you don't know me, my name is Steph. I've been trying side hustling for about 10 years. The reason I say trying is because I've done it. I've genuinely done it. I've done very different areas. I did card making, sewing, selling sewn goods, sewn pouches is a good. I did try network marketing. I'm not going to get into the detail of that, it didn't work for me, but I did enjoy the makeup aspect of it. And then I tried a little bit of translation, but not for very long because I quite quickly realized that wasn't for me. I have a whole bunch of YouTube videos from my card making days, so if you're into card making, look back into my videos, there's loads. And then what else? Yeah, and then thinking. And then more recently, I bought a Cricut maker machine, so it's a machine that cuts shapes. And I got into cutting vinyl stickers, and I started writing quotes, digitally handwriting quotes. So long story short, that led me to creating low content books. So it's like notebooks and diaries and that kind of stuff, and selling them through Amazon. So there's there's a specific website for Amazon. You can publish your notebooks and then Amazon will print them and send them for you, so people just have to order them. And I really like that because it's printed on demand, so there's no waste. Like, I'm going to say pointless waste, as in it's not printed before someone actually wants it, which I think is really good. And then, so I've been working on quotes, so I'm creating something called the SVG file that people can buy and use with their Cricut machine. I'm pointing at it, you can't see it over there. And so I have an Etsy shop for that. So I'm doing quite a lot of things at the same time. And then more recently, I was inspired, and I will tell you more about that after, but I was inspired to create some digital planning tools. So it's like Excel tools or printable PDFs that you can print and use on paper if you prefer that. But I've been working on that as well. So I'm trying to do loads of different things and I'm kind of juggling everything. But I am a very chatty person. People who know me know that. And I kind of enjoyed I enjoyed doing the podcast, and I kind of thought it would be nice to keep on doing it, but I couldn't do it on the podcast platform. So I'd rather do it on YouTube where all my other videos are, and it's a bit easier for me to manage everything together anyway. And then you can see that face. So that's a bit of background about me. I had all these little side hustles, but while I was doing that, I was off work for 8 years. So my son is 10. So I was off until my daughter started school. So that was September 2019. And then I found a part-time job, and I'm not working part-time. So I'm doing 3 days a week. I'm doing 6 hours a day. So it's fairly short because I go pick up the children after school, so we don't have to pay for childcare. And then Thursday, Friday, I do my side businesses, and in the evening is on. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I have a list. So that sums it up. So throughout, the reason I started the podcast last year, I guess during lockdown, there was not a lot of opportunity to talk with other people a lot. We did a lot of Zoom and stuff, but I don't know, I just felt like it. And one of the things I talked about back then was financial independence, retire early. And I kind of drifted off a bit, and I kind of wondered why. I kind of forgot about it. And then I realized that it was just because it was too much. It felt too intense. So the idea with FIRE is that I think that's how I saw it at least. You pay off your debts as much as possible so that you can finish work earlier, or instead of working full-time until you're 65, 68, you can go part-time and then have half of your time back. And I like the idea of financial freedom, but one of the things that I've learned more about recently, and I follow two channels for Frugality. Well, I follow one channel for Frugality. It's a lady called Lara Joanna Jarvis. She's on YouTube and I really like her. So I'd say if you're into Frugality, go and have a look at her channel. She's got loads of ideas, actually practical ideas that you can put in place. And in terms of financial freedom, but also time freedom, which is as important. I'm not going to say more, but at least as important, maybe slightly more. It depends who you are. I'm watching a channel called Mama Furfur, and the lady's called Jennifer. And I started watching her podcast. She's doing a podcast with her husband called The Prosperity Project. And I really like that they do talk about finance, but they talk also about mindset around money. And I was really obsessed, and I think I haven't talked to a lot of moms about it because I don't know a lot of moms who were off work for as long as I have, but I think there's kind of like a guilt associated with the not working for so long. Even if you look after your children and indirectly saving a lot of money to the household, because childcare for 2 children costs an absolute fortune. I think there's still some sort of guilt around not working, or at least that's how I feel about it. And the whole, I have enjoyed free time obviously, but finance is also a big part as well. So it's kind of like trying to find a good balance between financial independence and time independence. So I'm lucky enough that my husband doesn't work crazy hours, so I get to see him quite a bit. And obviously the kids at school don't have really long days, so I also get to see them quite a lot. But finance is also a big aspect, and I've been trying to kind of work on that quite a lot, so that we went from 1 wage to, let's say, a wage and a half or a wage and a quarter, because I work part-time. But there's been a lot of focus on frugality over the last a year, maybe more, because we moved house in 2020. So obviously the mortgage was higher, but I started working just before, so obviously this made a big difference for us. But I've changed my mindset around trying, instead of paying the insurance monthly like we used to do, it was more about paying for the year, but then you have to plan ahead and save ahead so you can then pay it for the year, but then you save the 10%, because insurances, I think they charge you an average 10% for paying monthly. So it might only be 40 quid, but if you do that on a car insurance and then you do it on a house insurance, you will add up quite quickly. You have stuff you can pay monthly, like electricity, gas, water, car tax, I don't think they charge you. TV licensing, I don't think they charge you. That's it on top of my head. So I think these things you can pay monthly and not pay extra, but stuff like insurance, they will definitely charge you for paying, well, at least our insurance did. So that's kind of the kind of thing I've been looking at, and then things like, food shopping, trying to meal plan. I always find it really hard. I have a bit of a takeout addiction, and we're trying to work on that, but meal planning is a massive thing if you're trying to reduce your food bills. When basically, once you've reduced all your bills to the minimum you can, so the water, electricity, gas, insurances, that kind of stuff, your mortgage is a bit different. But once you've reduced all these bills, the only last bill you can really reduce on, it's the food bill. And it's quite easy to overspend. And I shop in Aldi, I don't even shop in Sainsbury's. And even shopping in Aldi, sometimes I have to walk really fast. There's a middle aisle where they sell all the stuff that's, the one that changes every week. And sometimes I just push my trolley and I look straight and I walk really fast, and I'm like, I'm just not looking, don't look. And I just go to the end and then I go to the next food aisle. It's hard. It is hard. It genuinely, it's not easy. But it is one of the things you need to do to kind of like save money. I wanted to say something else and I lost it. One of the things we've done as well, my husband Chris made me a spreadsheet with all our mortgages. So we have several mortgages, it's a long story, but the idea was for us to pay the smallest. There's I don't know if you heard about that. There's snowball. There's 2 techniques for paying your debt. There's a snowball technique and an avalanche technique, I think. One consists in paying the smallest debt first, even if the rate is higher, but just getting rid of it so that your brain is clearer. And one is to pay a bit on all of them, I think. For me, paying the smallest one to think, okay, we don't have 3 mortgages, now we have 2, is mentally more freeing than paying a little bit on all of them, even if at the end they would all have finished at the same time. But I'd rather the other technique, so paying one debt, get it out of the way, and then pay the second debt, get it out of the way, and so on. And it's quite interesting there's even a name for that. I didn't realize that. So Chris made me that spreadsheet. It's a really cool tool. It's like an Excel, and there's a lot of formula and blah blah blah. And then I put the amount, the extra amount we could repay a month, and then you would give me the total at the end and tell me, okay, your mortgage will end at this date. So it's actually quite motivating when you look at it and are like, oh, we could save 5 years on a mortgage. We could save 10 years on a mortgage. It's really motivating you to kind of focus on that. However, it's never easy. Because we bought a house recently. We got loads to do in the house. We have loads to do in the house. But we had 2 options. We had the options of repaying a mortgage to finishing it early, but then doing another little mortgage to pay for house renovation. So the first one for this year that I was really set on was getting solar panels. The energy prices have obviously gone up quite a lot. Thankfully, this house doesn't cost much more than the old house in terms of electricity and gas, which I'm really surprised because it's detached, so we don't have neighbors helping us keep the house warm in winter. But it must have a much better insulation. So in that sense, it is much better. However, most people know that the electricity is gone up like drastically, and the gas is following as well, because I'm not quite clear how, but somehow they're related. So one of the things I was really set on doing this year was getting solar panel. So I've looked into that and looked at different options, and it's like, do you just get a solar panel? Do you get a battery? And one thing led to another, and talking to different people about it, we decided to just have solar panels, see how it works. In England, in winter, you don't generate that much really, so a battery might not be the best. So we're gonna get that sorted, and then see how it works for us, and then make another decision later. I might do an update on solar panels in a few months time. So the installation is booked for early April, so I might do like some sort of video at some point in the summer if I don't forget, because I think it'd be really useful. It's really hard to find. I mean, I found a channel that's really good for like sharing the data of what they generated with their solar panels, but they don't live anywhere near where we live, so obviously it's a bit different. We live in the middle of England. We live in the West Midlands, so in Birmingham, which is quite central and very grey. And the person I found, I think, lives in, I want to say West Sussex or something, near the seaside, I think, or a bit remote. So it's not at all the same climate. Birmingham is kind of like this little island where for some reason rain seems to come more often than the rest of England. So yeah, we'll see. I might do a video on that later. But the idea is to be able to save so that you don't make an additional loan, basically. So while we won't be paying over on the mortgage, so our mortgage won't end any sooner, we are not adding additional debt, and that debt would have generated interest, which would have had a cost, and so on and so on. So that's kind of like, it's all about, I don't know, it's all about having some sort of clarity, I guess. The frugality, it's a clarity, it's minimizing your bills as much as possible. And I hope you're into frugality, because if not, you're on the wrong video. You probably have disconnected by now. But what I really liked with Mama Furfur's channel, it was the mindset around frugality and the mindset around developing yourself, and developing yourself, which is indirectly linked to you developing your side hustle and developing your business. And obviously she talks a lot about share and investment and things like that. But the prosperity project, I think, yeah, it's more about how you feel and how you perceive things around you. Anyway, watch it, it's good. Yeah, and Lara Joanna Jarvis, it's more about how to make actual practical savings. So this weekend, I've actually put something for sale on Vinted. I've been buying from Vinted for about a year and a half. Every time I declutter, my kids seem to grow at the speed of light. I don't know how that's possible. I try to give to friends as much as possible, and we give to charity. But this weekend, I made a decision. I was decluttering my wardrobe because although things fit, I don't wear all of them. Realistically, I don't. And it is cluttering, like, you know, looking in a cupboard and you're trying to get something out, but you can't get it out or in because there's so much in there. And it's kind of like you're looking for clothes in the morning, you're like, what am I going to wear? And it's frustrating, and it may not look like it, but it's only afterwards that you look back and you're like, what, why? So I've decluttered my wardrobe for like the second or third time in a year. And I've put things on Vinted. So I got lucky. I sold something straight away with just one thing. So I'm not jumping in the air yet. But just the idea of actually taking a step toward raising money from what you have. I do normally give to charity a lot. Like, we make a bag for charity, not every month, but quite regularly. I do a bag before Christmas, and I did a bag after Christmas. And we go to Barnaders quite a lot. There's a shop in Harborne that's really good. And I buy loads of clothes for the kids as well from there. So it's kind of a way, you know, you buy things, but you're also giving to charity, which I think is really cool. And it's good quality. It's not like bad condition or anything. So it's all good. And yeah, there's a bit of that. So that's kind of like the whole mood anyway. I have a plan on my notebook, but I feel like I've gone off plan a little bit. So I'm going to try to recenter and talk about my goals for 2022. The goals for 2022 is have more family time, or maybe a bit more quality time. Trying to go out more. I'm not very good at going out. We do spend a lot of time on tech, so that's something we need to work on. We have the kids are now doing extracurricular activities, which we didn't do before. So Liv is doing gymnastics and James is going to do cricket. Chris and I have taken each an activity as well. So we also, you know, doing something more physical than we did before. So that's kind of like family time as well as fitness. And I was inspired by my first channel for that, for the 3F. So family, finance, and fitness. So the first two will fit within family time and finance, and fitness, sorry. And the last one being finance. So focusing on my side businesses, working on, well, maybe not working, but advertising my notebooks a bit further. So here we go. No, yeah, can you see it? Working on my SVG file, working on my digital file. So I've been working on party planning tool, holiday planning tool, and that all came from Mama Furfur. She said something that really resonated. She said, everybody's good at something. You know, for some people it might be, I don't know, carpentry. For some of them it will be cooking. Chris is really good with Excel. So, and I'm really good with planning. So I started a planning tool, and it just helped me a bit to make it a bit easier and user-friendly. And I'm going to share that. And I'm a crafty person, an arty person. So I'm creating these SVG files and hand lettering, and I'm putting them for sale on Etsy. And it's kind of using your talent to, well, to sell them, but, you know, to make a business out of it. So that will be my focus for 2022. And yeah, that sounds like a lot already. It's already tiring. No, I'm joking. It's quite late, that's probably why. But yeah, there's so much out there. Sometimes it becomes a bit overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot to think and a lot going on, but I think on the long term, I genuinely think it will pay out. It might be that at some point I think, oh my god, it's too much, and I just need to take a step back, breathe, and then get back to it. So here we go. I talk so much, my throat is actually hurting. So here we go. So I hope it's kind of like interesting. You might have put me in the background while you were doing the cleaning. That's fine, I'm okay with it. I don't know. The only thing I would say is maybe, what are your goals for 2022? Have you thought about anything you'd like to do in 2022 that you haven't done in 2021? I know COVID has put a dent, like a lot of people wanted to travel. we haven't seen our I haven't seen my family since August 2020. I haven't seen my parents physically in the same room since August 2020. And I know I'm not the worst, I know there's worse. Sorry. But it's, yeah, family is kind of a big thing. And one of the things I'd like to do in the future, and if my side businesses allow me, is to fly to France more often and take the children to France more often and see my family more often as well. It's kind of, you know, it's a thing. It's a big thing for me. But yeah, what are your goals for 2022? Do you have any specific goals you want to achieve? And are you looking into frugality? And is there a reason for it? Is it because you have a goal you want to achieve? Or is it because COVID has affected you in a way that you have to? What's on your mind? Leave me a message at the bottom. It would be interesting to know. Well, thank you very much for listening if you have listened to the end. And yeah, don't hesitate to visit these other channels I mentioned, because I think they're really good. They really have inspired me, and I hope that they might inspire you as well. I think that's it for today. I'm going to sign out. Have a lovely day, and I see you in my next video. Bye!